Welcome to the program this morning, everyone. I'm Representative Carmen Gentile from Sudbury in the 13th Middlesex District. We need to break the cycle of intergenerational poverty by helping people acquire the assets necessary for sustained success. Today's program will showcase how this has been done by the Midas Collaborative and its member organizations. House 10 strategy and allow the Commonwealth to partner with the federal government and private nonprofits to develop match savings programs wherever needed throughout the state, enabling many of our constituents to break the cycle of intergenerational poverty and acquire assets required for continued financial success. We're joined this morning by my friend and colleague, Representative Nika Elugardo of Boston, a co-sponsor of House 1099, and a leader with experience in developing and sustaining match savings programs prior to joining us in the Great and General Court. Nika?
Thank you, Representative Gentile, and thank you to the Midas Collaborative for putting together this presentation for our legislative offices. It's so important for folks to learn what match savings program potential has for actually reducing the burden on the state, and that's something that's been studied in the past. I was supposed to go at the end, but I do have to speak on another bill shortly. So I'm going to kick it off by saying a couple of things you might not know. So one, match savings programs are existing through banks, through nonprofits, especially community banks, all across the state. And the Midas Collaborative has been essential in developing that over the last couple of decades. Two, about 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago now, I was tapped by the Midas Collaborative and then Treasurer Steve Grossman and a number of banks who were working together, community and large banks, including Citibank, to come and pull together the programs and the community services agencies and the community banks who were doing this type of work so that we could assess and evaluate it. I was an evaluator and a trainer at that time. And so I set up this program for them called Mass Saves, not the energy thing, but they have been using that title for a decade or so. So we went with Mass Saves. And I don't have the experience setting the programs up, but I got firsthand experience working with dozens and dozens of leaders who do across the state. And that's actually how I first got to know that the state was a lot bigger than what happens inside of 128, because we went all across the state from East Barrington, Great Barrington, way out on near Albany, up north, the North Shore, the South Shore, down near Providence, all over the state. People are learning how to save in ways that increase their asset potential, which means they're able to go to school. It means they're able to own a home. It means they're able to own a car. It means in some cases they're able to get citizenship, which is costly. And what we found is even if someone begins saving $5 a month, the chances that even their child goes to college increases. So there are all kinds of great benefits. And I got the opportunity to meet with my colleagues across the country a few times a year who are leading statewide initiatives or supporting statewide initiatives or a compilation of regional groups across the state. And this is not something that's only working in Massachusetts, but Massachusetts has sort of fallen off a little bit in the levels at which from the state we have been supporting match savings, even though it is shown that the return on every dollar that we put forward is well over 100%. And so there's data on that. So I'm just here to say, I know this is something we have to get our heads around. I'm so grateful to Rep. Gentile for filing this bill so we can start this conversation so that you can know how your districts are affected already by match savings and how this bill that Rep. Gentile has filed can actually begin to expand those savings in a time where it's really critical as people are recovering from COVID and looking for ways to either build for the first time or rebuild their assets, whether they be small businesses, whether they be rural, whether they be urban, Black businesses, women-owned businesses, immigrant-owned businesses, as well as older folks who are looking to save for retirement. There's so many ways to use this type of programming that have already been tested. And so I hope you'll really hear out not only, in a general sense, what's happening and how it could be sort of good in state legislation for justice reasons, but that you'll hear the real practical and pragmatic impacts that this type of programming can have on your district. And then Carmen and the co-sponsors like myself will be able to hear from you specifically to the legislation, like what more can we do in the language to make sure that the benefits are inuring to your individual district. So thank you for giving us this time, and thanks again, Rep. Gentile and Midas Collaborative for just enabling me to talk about something that I love and know is so important for a few minutes. Oh, and I am introducing, moving fast this morning, sorry folks. I'm introducing the amazing Maali Goodman, who is going to be our MC today and a leader at the Midas Collaborative, and she'll tell us what the rest of the agenda is going to look like and what more we have to learn. Thanks, Maali.
Thank you so much, Nika, and thank you for being our champion at the State House. We're so appreciative to Rep. Gentile and Senator Eldridge for filing the legislation, but Nika first sat with us on a call for 2 hours to talk through and explain stuff, and it was so incredibly helpful. So I feel like you're responsible for getting us this far. A little bit about the Midas Collaborative first. We are a network of community-based organizations devoted to empowering low and moderate income households within their communities to achieve financial security through acquiring assets and building wealth. Over the last 20 years, Midas and its member organizations have designed and administered successful match savings, also known as individual development accounts or IDAs, to support hardworking households across the Commonwealth. Midas serves as an umbrella collaborative for member organizations and other frontline local partners. We amplify their efforts and share best practices to promote more prosperous communities across Massachusetts. And we have a holistic approach to financial security, both in creating our strong collaborative network and as being a recognized leader on the issues of consumer financial protection and asset building in the state of Massachusetts. To that end, we partner with national organizations such as Prosperity Now, and we also work with the existing network of financial counseling and housing counseling organizations within the state of Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I know from personal experience, before I took on this role, actually coinciding with this role, I run the homeownership and counseling programs for Alston Brighton CDC. So I've spent quite a bit of time applying for funding to get match savings to go alongside my homeownership programs. It's often the missing piece for many first-time home buyers to get into this housing market, especially today with as frenzied as it's been. And so I actually skipped over our opening Teams navigation. If there are questions, we can use the chat function. You could also raise your hand. This is just the overview that I've already given. And we tried to include this map to show that our member organizations span the entire Commonwealth. And we're always interested in bringing in new members that we can partner with that are already doing this work on the ground, and we can just increase the efficiency and the reach of their programs. In terms of the logistics for how we work with partner organizations, Midas does the back-end administration. We host the custodial accounts, and so participants will be depositing money into a savings account that we will see and have access to, and we will be able to apply a match depending on the program that they're participating in. Right now, we have programs that match 1-to-1, 2-to-1, sometimes up to 3-to-1. In the bill, it's written as a 4-to-1 ratio, and that is always our gold standard and what we're striving for in all of our programs. And so far, we've had quite a bit of impact, even with the small scale of the programs. And we brought some of our member organizations here today to talk about the actual narrative around their programs, and they can give you a little bit of background on their individual programs because they're each different. And so our first member is Connor Schoen, who is the co-founder and executive director of Breaktime.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm assuming. Okay, great. I'm not as used to Teams. Google Meets and Zoom are my go-tos. So
I'm also adjusting. I can't really see my screen right now, so I'm struggling a little bit, but.
I don't have it on my desktop, so I can't see any of you, which is really sad. But I'm assuming you're all there and can hear me. Maali, butt in if I cut out or my audio goes. But as Maali said, I'm Connor Schoen. I'm the co-founder and executive director of Breaktime. We're a Boston-based nonprofit working to end young adult homelessness. And our main focus is really empowering young people who are experiencing homelessness to not only build sustainability in their lives, but also to build resilience in their communities. So real quick, the way our model works is that we recruit young adults experiencing homelessness from other nonprofits across the city, providing case management, transitional housing, and other services. We actually hire those young people. They go through a 2-week accelerator program with us focused on professional development and personal empowerment. And then we staff them for 3 months at other nonprofits across the city where they do transformative work while developing transferable job skills. So the basis of our model is this double impact thesis that we can really drive double impact by employing and empowering young adults experiencing homelessness to go and work at incredible community-based organizations while continuing to develop their own job skills, gain income, build savings, and build financial security. Over the last year, we've had an incredible partnership with the Midas Collaborative that has really enabled us to do so much for each and every one of the young people we work with. In particular, each of our young people can put aside up to $50 a week from their income to be matched one-to-one in partnership with the Midas Collaborative, so that each of our young people, after 13 weeks or 3 months of working, is leaving our program with $1,300 in savings. And that's a really critical amount for them to take with them as they go to secure and ideally maintain stable permanent housing. But you know, when we compare that to what our young people come in with, the range of the gross savings, so not including debt, that young adults come into our program with is basically $0 to $500 for almost any young person. So $1,300 is extremely significant for every single associate in our program. It enables them to leave break time with a sense of financial security. And in addition to the actual funds and the match savings, we also pair each of our young adults with a credit counselor who works with them for a year to help boost their credit score. That's through a partnership with a national nonprofit called Working Credit. We have financial empowerment / financial literacy programming as part of that 2-week accelerator program at the beginning. And we're continuing to work with Midas and other partners to increase access to different financial literacy and other financial resources for each of our young people. Specifically for young adults, you know, the young people we work with range from 18 to 24. They're at this critical phase in their life where financial security is extremely important to getting them on the right path. The young people I work with, many of whom are LGBTQ+, actually 36% of whom are LGBTQ+, 89% of whom are Black or Latinx. These young people have no parental support and no financial anchor off of which they can, you know, gain stability. So they're going into the world, they're going into the workforce without a nest egg of funds or, you know, some sort of trust fund to help to support them as they're entering into the remainder of their lives. So they got to build that for themselves from scratch as a young person, while trying to work minimum wage jobs and also trying to find housing and also trying to make ends meet across the board. Some of our young people are also parenting, so you add that factor in, and the financial needs of our young people is incredibly high. And if we only provide young people with the wages and the financial support to just cover their basic needs, they're not going to succeed in the long term because they don't have any savings to build on, and they don't have any, and thus they don't have any path towards long-term financial security. So what's incredible about the Match Savings Program through the Midas Collaborative is that it empowers each and every one of our young people to actually have assets that they can start to build, so that when they're 25, 26, 27, they're actually headed out of homelessness versus caught in a cycle of chronic homelessness that can completely derail their life and derail their happiness. We've seen it again and again. There's so many young people who just get caught in only being able to work the same minimum wage jobs because they don't have the luxury to afford the opportunity cost of going to school, to afford the short-term expenses associated with training programs and other ways to invest in themselves. They just don't have that. But if we invest assets in our young people that they can build off of beyond just a basic income, then they can actually invest in themselves. They can invest in their long-term career and happiness, and they'll contribute more to our community. They'll be happier, they'll be healthier, and they'll live longer and more prosperous lives. So we're so honored to work with the Midas Collaborative. We're really excited about all the advocacy going on around this legislation. One big thing that this legislation would help us with is increasing our match ratio. So that instead of matching 1-to-1, which is what we do now, like if you were an associate in our program, you'd be putting in $50 a week into your individual development account. We'd match that 1-to-1. Instead of that, we could increase that match ratio to 4-to-1 so that we're actually investing more money into each of the pockets of our young people so that they're leaving Breaktime with over $3,000 in savings, which is a much more critical level to reach when we're talking about obtaining and maintaining stable permanent housing. It'll also allow us to potentially extend the length of our match savings program. So our employment is currently 3 months, but if we partnered in this way through this legislation, we could actually run a longer match savings program beyond the length of employment, so that young people could be saving for up to a year, and they would save, say like $3,000 over the course of a year, be matched 4-to-1, extra $12,000. They enter the workforce, they enter the world with $15,000 in assets. That is incredibly important to obtaining all of the stability they need to succeed. So at Breaktime, we're huge advocates of match savings. Match savings are one of the biggest tools we need to end young adult homelessness and to invest in young people and their success in the long term. So I'm incredibly excited about all the work that the Midas Collaborative has been doing. I serve on their board as one of their partner organizations. It's been amazing to see the support that the state legislature has already lent to these efforts. So thank you all so much for being here today, and really excited to continue to work on this fight to secure more match savings for our young people in the state.
Thank you so much, Connor. That was excellent. Our next presentation is from Symone Crawford, who is the Director of Homeownership Education for MAHA, the Massachusetts Affordable Housing Alliance. Her title also, I don't know if it's a joke or not, but I liked it, is Stash CEO. And Symone's program, like I said, I've spent a lot of time applying for grants to go alongside my homeownership programs, and it is modeled off of what Symone has already successfully implemented at MAHA. So I'm very excited that she's here to share a little bit more about Stash and their success.
Thank you so much, Maali. Thank you to Representative Gentile and Elugardo for giving us this opportunity to share. Midas, kudos for pulling this together as well. My name is Symone Crawford, and I am the Director of Homeownership Education at the Massachusetts Affordable Housing Alliance. I also manage the Match Savings Program. And yes, I think Tom is serious calling me CEO of Stash, Maali.
I like it.
Thank you. So Mass Affordable Housing Alliance is better known as MAHA, and MAHA has been in existence for over 35 years. And in that time, we have been laser focused on homeownership. Our mission is to educate and mobilize to increase affordable homeownership opportunities, break down barriers facing first-time and first-generation home buyers, and close the racial wealth and homeownership gaps. This mission is just as relevant today as it was with the passing of the Fair Housing Act in 1968. We are faced with the stark realities, as mentioned earlier, that for decades, many have been systematically excluded from becoming homeowners. We know this because we are experiencing Massachusetts homeownership rate that have white household at 70%, while households of Blacks, Latinx, and Asians combined are at 35%. That's a 2-to-1 ratio, and it's something I promised myself I will always repeat whenever I have an opportunity to do so. Now, this is where STASH comes in. STASH is a first-generation match savings project, and the acronym stands for Saving Towards Affordable, Sustainable Homeownership. As a funded partner of Boston Children's Hospital Determinant of Health Grant, we were able to launch this race-conscious initiative. We partnered with Midas Collaborative to help us to run this program in a real smooth way. As previously stated, Massachusetts has one of the worst racial homeownership and wealth gap in the nation, and we need to be intentional about closing that gap, and STASH is playing a role. First-generation home buyers do not have the bank of mom and dad, and STASH can be that resource to level the playing field with those that have intergenerational assets. Since January of 2019, we have enrolled a total of 200 participants. All enrollees must have graduated from a MAHA first-time home buyer class, be a first-generation home buyer, meaning they nor their parents or guardian must not have owned a home in their lifetime, or if they do so, they might have lost it due to foreclosure. We do also include parents that are foster parents into that definition. We also want to make sure that their household earnings are at or below the area median income for the area they currently live in. And each participant is challenged to save $2,000 of their own funds over a 12-month period, which would enable them to qualify for an additional $2,000, which is a 1-to-1 match towards the purchase of their first home, hence the bank of mom and dad. These participants are also required to take 8 one-hour monthly sessions that teaches them how to keep their home, how to manage the home that they're in it, how to budget, how to save for emergency repairs, how to make sure that their budget is in their control and their funds are not being used without their knowing where their money is going. So it's an holistic approach to our match savings program in this partnership. I'm going to share some participants' self-reported demographic and savings data with you. Of the 200 participants enrolled so far, 72.5% are Black or African American, 19% Latinx, 4.5% multiracial, 3% white, and 1% Asian. That's a total of 97% persons of color. There has been a combined savings as of April of $273,000 approximately. These savings are coming from households with an average income of approximately $62,000. We have started a campaign to scale up this race-conscious first-generation home buying match savings program, and we have a call to action to raise an additional $100 million in public and private funding within the next 5 years. This will enable the program to help up to 4,000 first-generation home buyers over the next 10 years. And while Midas's goal is to have a 4-to-1 or a 3-to-1 match, our goal is to match at 10-to-1. This will enable someone that saved $2,000 to be matched an additional $20,000 towards the purchase of their home. As we know today, the home prices are astronomically high, and that's one of the biggest barriers towards home ownership. I am happy to also report that the City of Boston, under the guidance of our past mayor, had invested additional funding to enable an increase in both the match and, to have people purchasing in the City of Boston to be able to enter with a $5,000 match towards the purchase of their home. These are really, really great testimonial to say that this match savings program and match savings program in general has a positive impact on the equity of those that has been disenfranchised for years. And so we are calling on others to join this race-conscious, bold, and innovative initiative to help close the racial wealth and homeownership gaps. We're looking for the state, we're looking for developers, and we need everyone to pitch in. Right now, we're predominantly in the City of Boston. We do have some additional funding that goes statewide, but we need more. And so we really appreciate this opportunity to be able to share what we have accomplished so far and to share our vision for the future as we move forward. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Symone. That was excellent. This next presentation, Cam actually couldn't be here, so we need to do some maneuvering and switch. I honestly don't even know how he did this. He's very tech savvy, but he has pre-recorded his presentation and overlaid it over slides. So let me just get that up.
Hi, my name is Cam Maali. I'm the Deputy Director of Resident Services at Cambridge Housing Authority, and I'm here to talk about the Match College Savings component of our workforce program. The workforce program started as an unemployment prevention and high school dropout prevention program in 1984 and came as part of the Cambridge Housing Authority. And since then has evolved into a post-secondary success program and into a 9-year program. The whole goal of the program and the mission around it is to break the intergenerational poverty cycle of our families and get our students up and out of public housing. We do this through a comprehensive long-term support over a 9-year span, starting in 8th grade, with deep dive in case management, family engagement, and providing intensive academic support, social emotional support through weekly paid workshops and through, again, that one-on-one case management. The biggest part of our program has become our Match College Savings program, and that has really helped push our students to start thinking of themselves and seeing themselves as college goers. All of our youth are first generation students, all of our youth are low income, and the only, there's no creaming of our students coming in. They represent a wide variety of academic skills. About a third of our students have some identified disability and are on IEPs, and about 20% of our students are about 15% of our students are ELL, English language learners. Our outcomes speaks for themselves. 100% high school graduation rate. 90 to 95% of our high school graduates matriculate into college or a post-secondary program. And these last two statistics really speak to what our mission is and what the Match Savings has allowed us to do. 75% of our students complete college or post-secondary program within 5 years. And to put this in context, that's about a third at best, about a third of low-income first-generation students complete college nationally within 6 years. And then nearly 2/3 of our alumni report not living in public housing 6 years after graduating from college. So again, these are meeting what we want to aspire for our students and what we believe is the first major asset that our students have, which is a college degree, allowing them to really gain employment at a much higher level and be able to get up and out of public. So the Match Savings program works. It's open to all of our participants, all 200 participants, high school, 8th grade through 12th grade participants. We provide a lot of financial education before they're able to open their deposit-only accounts, and we provide them with supports to save about $1,500 into their accounts, and we'll match them dollar for dollar, so up to $3,000, with the goal to both create a college-going mindset, because this just weaves into our program, but also to lessen their financial burden of post-secondary costs, not just with that $3,000, but with a lot of case management and education that we do around finding the best college for the least amount of expense and debt. The outcomes are that 100% participation in match savings is the opt-out model, so they have to request to get out of the program. On average, our students are saving about $1,200 within the 3 years before they graduate from high school, and that's matched dollar for dollar. And I come back to the 75% post-secondary completion within 5 years of matriculation because that is a direct result of the match savings and the college-going mentality that our students have, along with the lot of coaching that comes from alumni coach while they are in school. I want to stress the importance of House Bill 1099, and the reason this is an integral piece for us is that we are only able to match their savings dollar for dollar. We're only able to match it up to $1,500. A 4-to-1 match, a much higher threshold for savings, $4,000 for the match, will be a game changer for a lot of our youth. This will break down a lot more barriers for our students to go to college, reduce the need of debt and loans, and really help our families from the very beginning start seeing college as a real viable option for their students. So I hope you will support it. I hope this bill will pass. If you have any questions, you can reach me. My number and information is right there, or the director of the department, John Lindemann, and his information is right there. So I want to thank you, everyone, and I hope that this bill will be heard and will be passed. Thank you.
And with that, I think I can pass it back to Rep. Gentile for a few words about the legislation.
Well, thank you very much, Maali, and thank you to our speakers. So this bill would enable the Commonwealth to partner with the federal government and private nonprofits and others to deliver match savings programs to our constituents, to people throughout the Commonwealth, wherever they're needed. And really, there are very few communities in the Commonwealth that would not benefit by availability of match savings programs to really help lift people out of poverty and really work towards cutting down on intergenerational poverty and allow people to get ahead. So often, for example, people often do have employment, have income that would sustain a mortgage, allow them to buy their own homes, but they don't have the money for a down payment, and they don't have the familial resources for that down payment that many of us have enjoyed. And this would fill that gap. This would fill the gap and give them that down payment for the deposit on home ownership. It also today, with COVID-19, the emergency expired, and the Commonwealth's economy moving ahead, people getting out and about. The reality is that 80% of people who are employed don't have the public transportation to get back and forth to work, so they need to have a car right now. I hope in the future we have more public transportation that allows everyone to get back and forth to work. But for the short term and for the medium term, cars are essential to so many people to get back and forth to work. So match savings programs can allow the purchase of a car, purchase of a vehicle, so that enabling someone to be able to work, to maintain their job and not have it be in jeopardy because they have to take public transportation that doesn't always fit the bill. So this legislation, would enable us to move forward in this respect, and obviously improving our constituents' financial abilities, paying taxes, and receiving really ultimately less government benefits because they're able to live independently without government benefits eventually. other than the benefits that we all enjoy all the time, like Social Security and what have you. So I think, we're very fortunate to have Connor Schoen and Symone Crawford with us today. And some of you, may have some questions for them or for myself, and we'll be happy to take any questions that you have. I can take a look on the chat and see. I should take a look on the chat and see if see what questions are there. Let's see. Maali, maybe you can assist if you see any questions in the chat that you can read to us.
I don't think there have been any questions so far, but
Okay,
I guess this is no. I don't see any either. So now's the time, I think, if you have any.
You can raise your hand electronically, and if you have an observation or a question, happy to entertain those. I can't see everyone, but oh, now I can't see anyone. What did I do? Oh, there. People are back now. Okay.
Hi, my name is Dina Abru from Rep. Tony Cabral's office. I don't know if I missed the part, but did you touch base who should apply, who would qualify for all these programs?
So the programs, we partner with community organizations. We have a list of our member organizations that currently participate, but there's no central source of funding for this right now. So it's completely dependent on community organizations raising the funds and then working with us to administer the program.
Correct.
So,
and what communities are available, like Gateway City communities or Greater Boston? I'm in New Bedford, and I don't know if I missed that information also.
I don't think that we have a partner organization in New Bedford, but I'd love to talk to you about what organizations are currently doing that work on the ground there, and maybe reach out about implementing match savings alongside the financial counseling or housing counseling that's already going on.
Oh, yeah, that's great. We can exchange emails and brainstorm. We bring it.
Absolutely.
And who else I can connect you with in my area. I'll put my email. Actually, it's Irondina Abru. So, but I'll put my email on the chat.
That would be great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for having this program. Appreciate it.
Ooh, Ravi, the chat might be muted. Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't believe it is, but please let me know if if it is.
Any other questions or observations? No? Oh, there's someone in the lobby.
I'm just copying this email address so I don't lose it. Thank you so much for doing that. And I will definitely be in touch.
Please, thank you.
Well, I want to thank, if no one has any other questions or observations, I want to thank everyone for coming today and taking part in this program. I think we did record it so that if there's someone, if you know someone who would like to view it, we'll make it available to them. And thank you all again. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Thank you.